Hey, Crispy Crew, welcome back to Crispy Cocktails, where we bring you the best drinks, the best conversations, and get crispy with leaders, coaches, mentors, entrepreneurs, and all around badasses making waves. If you're loving what we do, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss a sip of the action. And while you're at it, check out our website at crispycocktails.com for everything you need. Explore our flavors, find a retailer near you, browse our gallery, and get answers to your top questions. Before we jump in, don't forget to follow, share, and tag us while you sip. Now, let's meet today's guests. Cheers and get crispy. Hey, we're back on the Crispy Podcast. I'm sitting here today with the owner and chief instructor of Evolve Martial Arts and Fitness. Thank you so much for being on the show today. And how long have you been an entrepreneur?
Actually, I feel like ever since I was born, my family, my mom was involved in running and owning a horse farm where she developed and showed horses, and we actually stabled horses for the Walton family, and she helped them get better. So I kind of got that entrepreneurial mindset when I was younger, and my dad was an engineer. Went to college for engineering and didn't enjoy as much as I did, and a couple years into it, I met an individual who really inspired me, where he was a martial artist, but he was also very successful. He made a good amount of money. He had a great wife, a great family. He had a great business, and he's a bag of flesh, just like you and me. And I'm like, if he can do it, so can I. I'm just lacking some of the knowledge and education. So I decided to retire as an engineer after 2 years.
And how old were you at that time?
I was 23 years old.
Okay, so you retired from being an engineer, decided
Yes.
to be an entrepreneur, and how did that go?
It had some mixed feelings. You know, my family, my grandfather and everything, they're very well educated, military. Same thing with my dad. We spent a lot of time. I went to Penn State, and the engineering program was fantastic, very challenging. And I moved out here to Colorado to work for a defense contractor. So when I decided to make that switch, there was a little bit of pushback from everyone, friends and family, going from a six-figure salary, stock options, retirement, vacations, that certainty, to my first year making $15,700. I know that because I got approved for welfare when when I went to the taxes. There was a lot of pushback. Going from 40 hours a week to 80 hours a week was really big, but it was something I absolutely loved, and it didn't really feel like work because I had good mentors at that time, and I was building something. There's one thing when you're building something for a corporation, but it was something different when you're building it yourself.
Yeah, and you had your mentors help you. I know that mentors have played a big role in my life. I think that in a lot of entrepreneurs' life, they play a big role. How did you find your mentors, and how did they point you in the right direction?
I think 100% they're essential.
Yeah.
You have to. I think anyone, in order to be strength, one attribute of strength is humility. And humility is recognizing your strengths and, more importantly, your weaknesses. And by having a mentor, you are acknowledging that, and you're getting that guidance. So what takes you 12 to 15 years of mistakes and setbacks, they can help you in a day.
Yeah.
And I found mine right away. I was inspired. He was the business owner of the school that I went to and became the manager of. So I basically saw a online ad about teaching, Krav Maga, and being in martial arts since I was 10 and doing it forever, being highly involved. I saw what he was doing, and I decided to, again, retire as an engineer. I started working with him, and he every day was working on me, not just physically, but he was teaching me business. He was teaching me how to be a better instructor. And he was a great role model. His family absolutely loved him. The community loved him. He has great integrity, and I still speak to him today. I just talked to him the other day, and he's no longer here in this state. He kind of retired as well too. but he's still doing business instead of just martial arts. He owns a lot of VRBOs and rental properties and everything, expanded. So we still talk on a weekly basis, and he still coaches, he still mentors me, and I think it's absolutely essential.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with you on that. And tell me a little bit about your business.
What I did is, again, I worked for my mentor in his business for many, many years, ended up getting married and moving. And so I relinquished my position as head instructor, and I opened up my own business called Evolve Martial Arts and Fitness. And I spent a little bit of time really contemplating the name because I wanted to have it mean something. And Evolve, I segue to Kaizen, which is the Japanese term of continuous and never-ending improvement. It's an engineering and manufacturing term. So I kind of brought that into the business because part of Evolve Martial Arts is continuous and never-ending improvement. The target market is not just adults, it's mostly kids. Because kids, from a business perspective, it allows you long term. You have a kid, they can start from age 5 and they're with you clear through high school and college. And in our industry, retaining people, retention is key. If you lose a student, it takes 2 to grow. But if you learn about retention, it's high. So for continuous and never-ending improvement, we're not just a martial arts school that teaches kick and punch. We're a personal development academy that uses martial arts as a vehicle to teach life skills.
Yeah, as a catalyst.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And you're building young minds, young, kids to get better. And one thing that's nice about what you do, you can give value to people, not only just, doing the martial arts aspect of it, but actually helping them grow as people, growing them into good young men and women, and learn the discipline and what it takes to, get stronger, get better. And one of the things that you do too, it's not just physical, it's a lot of mental work as well. So, how does your business work, and what are some of the ins and outs of everything?
Just to piggyback what you're saying, we were talking earlier about some of the books and stuff, like Atomic Habits or Meeting Friends and Influencing People. Kids don't hear these things in school, and their parents can tell them things a dozen times, but if a mentor tells it to them once, it's kind of like gospel. And so that's where we get a lot of our material. We look at success. Success is a habit and so is failure. And there's certain blueprints that lead to things consistently. So we use that information that's already been proven and we develop it into our lessons. And that's what we've been doing with our school. We're constantly growing. We're constantly educating ourselves as instructors. They're constantly reading and listening to podcasts, and so are we. And we take that material and keep it fresh and innovative, to our clients.
Okay. And about how many clients do you guys have?
Let's see. It's we're now getting back up past the numbers like pre-COVID. Each school is kind of different. The largest part that I ever ran was about 400 students.
Okay.
And then at this location right here, we were about 225 students, and we check it every week. And so you have active count, and the active count is how many people are actually attending, and also you have how many people are actually enrolled at our school. So as a business owner, you always have to watch the numbers. If you're not watching the numbers, you're just playing a game.
Yeah.
You should be able to ask a question and, what is your retention ratio? What is your billing check? What is this? How many, I do that with my instructors all the time, and I quiz them, because when you're paying attention to the numbers, you're paying attention to success and growth, because zeros are just as important, if not more important, than ones. So when you're kind of grading yourself, like how many phone calls did you make today? How many people came in? How many people did not renew? What's those things? So we're at 225 active that are participating in class on a weekly basis.
Okay.
So when we look at that, we have a little more than that, but again, that's what we had on our last count.
Okay. And then, so you have one brick and mortar location.
Yes.
Where you guys do the classes and everything. How long do the classes usually take?
Well, with the kids, it was different from when I grew up to where it is now. The kids programs are 45-minute classes.
Okay.
The reason being is, they are completely high impact from beginning to end and jammed with information. So we do more in 45 minutes than what some schools, do in like 2 or 3 classes. And the 45-minute schedule allows us to have an extra class per day. And an extra class per day, divided by 5 days a week, is an extra 5 classes per week, which is an additional 25 classes a month. And each of those classes is bodies on the floor, and that equates to also higher revenue. So when it came to a business model, if you run an hour class versus a 45-minute, you can help more students. And it's a value for value exchange. The more you can help people, the more they can help you.
Yeah.
Just like Zig Ziglar. The more people you help get what they want, the more they'll help get what you want.
Yeah.
And so by providing and having those 45-minute classes, we can serve more students, and it's a win-win.
Yeah. About how many students do you have in each class?
Pre-COVID, we had a much larger school. And when COVID happened, we had to move to a different location. I did a bunch of different things to keep it up, teaching online, doing private classes. I had people having me come to their home. So we moved to a place that is a little bit smaller. The floor space is about 1,000 square feet. So with the kids program, we keep it to about 24. And then for the adult program, we do about 18.
Okay.
So like on max classes, we've had days where we've had more, but we keep spreading things out and opening up new things, and it ebbs and flows. We have a special concept called freezing, where people can freeze their memberships when kids are in soccer, hockey, football.
Another sport, yeah.
Yeah, so like we'll have we developed in the mindset of our clients that this is a marathon, not a race. And that you can look at as seasons. Like here is martial arts season, here's soccer season, here's hockey season, here's vacation season. So, there's times where classes will get smaller, and times that it will get even, and times that we're really packed.
Yeah. What is your busiest time of the year usually?
Boy, when it comes to enrolling new students, believe it or not, it's January through June.
Okay.
Like we have 6 months left where January, February, March tend to be really big with a lot of adults. And then all of a sudden when April, with like tax season, April, May, June, when people get like more money coming in, we get like a big influx and stuff. Then in June, we have our, like May and June, we have our looking for what we're going to do over the summer. And then coming back, we have our back to school. So, you can find a reason to succeed every month, or you can find a reason to fail. It's summertime, it's going to be hard to enroll students. Hey, it's summertime, let's do camps. Back to school. So, we keep it pretty consistent, as far as the size. But I think the biggest class size, believe it or not, is right around the Christmas time. We have a lot of families we bring guests and family members in, and we have big classes and huge events. So it's that December time.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And I could see why people would come after the first of the year, when people are making their, New Year's resolutions and trying to get back in shape, or try to learn a new skill, or try to, get more physically active. But it sounds to me like your business is pretty consistent throughout the year.
Yeah.
But the first 6 months might be busier than other months. I love the aspect of having a freeze on there to making that more, more interesting, or more better for some of the parents and stuff, because like I have kids that are playing basketball or football or baseball or whatever, and I usually say one sport a season. Doing any more than that for the kids can get wearing on the family, can get wearing 100%. On the kid, all that good stuff. So I think that that's cool that you can freeze it for a few months while they're playing baseball or whatever, and then come back into it. You touched on earlier that you've got so many, what you say, 225 students that are pretty active. So how many instructors would you have then to keep it on a daily basis? And are you guys open 7 days a week?
Well, we did a couple, I'd say kind of out of the box thinking. First of all, before I answer that, when it comes to the freeze, some schools, and maybe people listening here that maybe have gyms or looking at that, they hate the word freeze because they feel like they don't get income. When we freeze, they still pay for their membership. We just add it on at the end of the membership for free.
Okay, so you just add time on.
And what that does is, now that the parents paid for it, you know what they do? They come back.
Yeah.
because it's easy when you stop paying for something to then do it. But since they already paid for it, they come back. So that helps with the retention.
Gotcha.
Second, we teach all day long. We have fitness classes in the morning. We have self-defense classes, instructor training. And then during the middle time between noon and 3 o'clock, where most schools are closed, we have homeschools. We have a huge homeschooler program, and those families are fantastic. So we basically have classes running from 9 in the morning till 9 at night, where most schools are empty. You know what I mean? When it's empty, there's no service. When there's no service, there's no value for value exchange. So my goal was to optimize something being done on the floor all the time. So I have a combination of full-time employees and contractors. My full-time employees, I have 2 of them, and they are both instructors, and they also have different positions that they work on as far as front desk. They can phone calls, MIA calls, that's missing in action if someone's missing, progress reports. So after every strength testing, each of the instructor, if we don't see the parents, we give them a phone call. If we don't talk to them on the phone, then we write a letter to them on how their kids are doing, what they're doing, and send a video. So it works really well. Then for our fitness classes and some of the ones that are outside of purview, for example, hey, like I did mixed martial arts, I can teach a workout class. My workout class is different than a fitness instructor. So again, humility. I know my lane. I hired someone that is an expert in fitness. I also have an expert in Muay Thai as well too, and also have an expert, one of my old MMA coaches that teaches combat jiu-jitsu. So we have these other programs where it's kind of the fringe times. So my instructors, my full-time employees, or I don't like to call them employees, my full-time teammates, don't get burnt out. So that's what I did to allow us to offer all these classes and still have my main individuals focus on the youth programs, the adult self-defense programs, and of course the inner workings of the business. I'm also now training an events director that's going to help run kids' night outs, birthday parties, and do booths, because as a business owner, and even if you work for a small business, that work-life balance can get kind of tough. Like when I was an engineer, I worked 40 hours a week. When I did small business, I was working 60 to 80. And when I opened up my business, I go, I'm going to make sure that I'm going to have a better quality of work-life balance in this business than what I first had. Just like a parent, like I want to have a better life for my kids.
Yeah.
So I had that there. So that's why I have a combination of contractors, part-time employees, and full-time employees to kind of spread that out.
Okay. All right. And I know with entrepreneurs too, like we're normally doing, wearing a lot of different hats and doing a lot of different things as well. Do you pretty much do all business aspects for your company, as far as like doing the accounting and doing the scheduling and doing the ordering and, setting up the classes and talking to the parents and all of those types of things?
When I first opened, I learned that I actually opened up another martial arts school, and I ran it myself. The reason being is they already had the mats, the mirrors, and everything, so my overhead was very low. I knew how to do an LLC, and I knew how to do the basics, so I built my way up. As I started getting clients, I got an accountant right away. So that's one thing that I did pay for, is an accountant right away. I got my website up right away. Again, I outsourced that. I first did it, and I got some mixed results. I'm not a programmer. Again, humility is a powerful tool. And so I paid for a website, and it paid for itself 100-fold. And then, I pay for my website developer, the people who help my SEO and SMO, and they do my Facebook ads.
Okay.
I outsource a lot of those little things. The biggest things that I do is I'm in charge of the testing and curriculum and the quality, the instructor development. I handle all the back end of the business. If there's like some type of financial or tuition or some challenges, if we have a parent or a client that has a challenge or difficulty, I bring that to me, because my employees, my team, have enough to work on, and dealing with a client that has a struggle can sometimes take a lot of time, and I want to make sure that we can streamline the process. So I do a lot of the back end of the business stuff, and I'll teach, the major seminars. Like I travel to seminars and do a lot of that now.
Okay. How many seminars do you do a year?
Oh, geez. How about a week?
Yeah,
I average,
really?
Yeah, I at least average 1 to 2 seminars a week, not including the ones we do at our own school. Like
Okay.
I go to synagogues, churches, daycares. I just had a woman's workshop and stuff that we did. I run private workshops for groups. I go to dentists. I'm downtown. I teach at apartment complexes, like luxury apartment complexes, once a month for like 2 hours and going through stuff.
How do you find those gigs?
You know what? I reach out. You know what I mean? If I look at it going like, I want to buy a new house. And in order to do that, it's a money problem. It's just a mathematical problem. In order to do that, I need to bring this much in. So if I can, bring in an extra, $2,000 a month, I'll be able to afford this property or X, Y, and Z. So I just work backwards. How many clients do I need to do this? So I just reach out to churches, synagogues, and then my goal is to do it where it's not just a one-off, but I get them where we do something quarterly and I keep coming back. And after you've been doing that for a while, it all adds up. So now I don't have to work as hard. Like I can teach at the different rec centers, and I have that every quarter. I have a couple private schools that I teach at as an enrichment program just for like a fall semester or a spring semester or this. So it's just slowly building that network. It's like having a vision and going, this is what I have to do, and then work backwards.
Yeah, it almost sounds like you have different or multiple aspects of your business. So you have your brick and mortar spot where you do your classes, where you have independent contractors and instructors that people come to on a day-to-day basis. And it sounds like you have from 9 to 9. Do you do 12 sessions during that time and 15 minutes in between? Because you said your sessions are 45 minutes. Or do you do them back to back to back to back?
They're back to back.
Back to back all day long.
Yeah, there's space in between. We're not. My goal is to go from 9 to 8:30. But
Okay.
we have like 2 hours here. Then we have instructor training. Then we have a lunch, and then we have our homeschoolers. Then we have a half hour, and then once the evening block starts, once 3:45 starts, it goes from 3:45 to 8:30 back to
And
back.
that's probably your super busy time when everybody's getting out of
Yes.
school and stuff.
Yeah.
And then so is that an entirely separate business, going out and doing the seminars and teaching at the rec centers and the schools and the synagogues and the churches? Is that totally different?
Well, I learned that what I was taught, there's marketing, sales, service, and maximizing.
Okay.
And when you're teaching classes and doing stuff, you're doing all three. We're teaching a class or running a seminar, we're marketing, we're conducting a service, and also we're trying to sell. So when I'm at these churches, synagogues, if I'm at a group or a private area, I am not only making money and bringing income for that business. And by the way, it's a separate business entity. You don't want to. I learned from COVID, if you have a table and you only have one leg and something happens, that leg, the table falls.
Yeah.
I now have multiple businesses. So when I go out and do these private contracts, what ends up happening is I have it set up where it gets paid to another business, and then that business goes to myself, and then I give a piece of that to Evolve, but I use that to help market Evolve. And then that brings clients in. And if it's too far away, I end up asking for, hey, write a review. You know what I mean? So I actually have a QR code, like, did you like it? Here, scan it and write a review and everything. So, if I'm out in Broomfield, I'm not going to get a client there. But it's amazing how they'll say, hey, I have a friend that lives in Hyman's Ranch and they would love this. Oh, great. Hey, what they are. And you just ask. And it always helps. So I get, yes, I get some income, but the main goal is to attract more clients. Because for me, time is so valuable. And, are you self-employed or a business owner? Someone who's self-employed is trading their hours for money. Someone who's a business owner is now being able to capitalize on having other individuals help them have synergy. So now you have free time to now invest in other things. So when I'm done here, I have a break, and I'm actually going to be going to a middle school, and I'm going to be teaching a gym class, stranger safety. and I'm going to be handing out pamphlets and flyers about the things that parents should ask their kids to make them stranger safe. If you have any questions, here's a call. And by the way, scan this QR code to have 10 more facts about stranger safety, and it brings them to our website. So they got traffic, this, and it introduces it. So that's my goal. I'm trying to maximize the business so my team doesn't have to work as hard.
Yeah, that's very good. I love that, what you just said there. And working in different aspects and bringing more people on. And I think that one of the hardest things too is delegating, but it sounds like you do a good job of training your instructors to handle a lot of things while you're out and doing other things. Do you spend any money on marketing, or basically is your process kind of doing all the marketing for you?
Actually, I do. I spend money on, first of all, mentors. Okay, yeah, I do have my mentors who are my friends. I also pay because their time and knowledge is worth value. That if I pay them $1,000 a month, they're helping me make $10,000 a month. I mean, that's a good exchange, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so my first major investment is having a mentor to keep you accountable. Doesn't matter how good your marketing is. If you have holes in your bucket in your business, you're going to burn yourself out, and you'll burn your team out. And that's going backwards. So I spend money on mentors. I do spend money on Facebook and Instagram. I'm revamping the website. I am actually going to be cutting that back some because I found out grassroots marketing is more cost effective. We may get, say, 100 leads. If they're adult leads, out of those 100 adult leads, how we have a program, we can generally get in contact with 50%. Out of that 50%, 40% make appointments. Out of that 40%, only 20% show up.
Yeah.
Kids and families are much better. You know what I mean? You get 100 leads, you get a hold of like 90, 80 show up, and out of those 80, 70 join. We're doing really good with that. But there's a lot of money going in with that, and I look at the return on investment versus going out and doing a booth. And if you do a booth or do these school talks or birthday parties or daycares, the amount of time, I spend 6 hours at a daycare. That's 6 1-hour classes for 6 weeks. And from that, I can end up, you have 14, 15 kids. And after that, 50% of them sign up. I get 8 kids signing up after 6 weeks, 8 kids for 6 hours worth of my time. I mean, I'm doing it during the day.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm doing. That's why I maximize. Eventually, my goal is to bring another teammate on, and they're going to be doing these seminars that I'm doing, like going to the daycares, going to these other schools, and then I'm going to step away and help advance the business in another capacity.
Nice. And have you found any candidates to take over that role for you? And how would you find that person?
I've really found out most of the time it's from hiring from within.
Yeah.
And the instructors that we had actually came in and didn't know any martial arts. They were my students, and I built them on the way up.
And they became your instructors.
Yeah, and they became staff, but I also do continued education. I have them train with my Muay Thai guy. I have them train with my mixed martial arts guy. And guess what? They also do Zoom calls with my mentor. So they're constantly training. We'll go to Kansas or at other states to go to Krav Maga seminars or Kapap seminars or whatever it might be. And we're constantly educating. So it's not just me, because I know other people have also other lenses they can look through and give them information. So I'm constantly educating the instructors in that. And it is kind of difficult. The mindset, not trying to jump anything, but the mindset of this generation is a little bit different. Like, expecting $120,000 a year, 6 weeks off, their own cell phone, pension plans. Like, the expectations is insane sometimes. So you have to find individuals who've had some challenges in life. People that are very passionate and they're willing to give up a little bit of comfort for the vision of something they love and enjoy and can be successful. Because where I grew up, people couldn't hold a living. I grew up in Pennsylvania. All the martial arts schools, people taught it as a hobby, and they had a full-time job. When I met the guy here, this was a full-time job. He made more than me as an engineer and had houses and investments. And again, If he can do it, so can I. So the idea is to find people that are willing to learn and be inspired by the vision. For me, I wanted to quit multiple times when I was manager. Like, I had it in my head, like I couldn't sleep that night. I woke up the next morning, I was going to go in and tell my manager and my mentor that I'm done. And then we'd have a motivational thing in this, and I was back on track. And I told my team, I go, listen, if you haven't wanted to quit 100 times, you're not going to be successful, because anyone who's successful has had setbacks, and it's not just the physical, but it's the mental and emotional battles.
Yeah.
And every time I got over one of those, I got higher. And I found that there is a lower tolerance to that the lower tolerance of feeling uncomfortable mental and emotionally. And that's what we have to find. It's not the physically gifted individual who becomes the great martial arts instructor. It's the person who has that mental resilience or the capability and humility to go, I need to learn these skills to be successful.
Yeah, and stick with it consistently.
Yeah.
Right? And not give up.
And
Like you said, I think that that's so good. You are training their minds to get better, to grow, to handle tough obstacles, whether it's, doing your classes, or if it's, dealing with things in life.
Yeah. And that's why we hire within when it comes for the full-time people. The contractors, it's different. The contractors, we have good rapport with them, but they're also contractors. There's certain roles we do with. And to not make it sound like bad, but like I pay them money, they do a service. You know what I mean? And that's different because they have their own lives. They do stuff.
Yeah, it's their own business.
But when you have someone who's working for you full time, and it puts a lot on them. You know what I mean? It is a small business.
Yeah. You hit on a lot of good points there. What are some of the other things that you think are attributes or traits that make a good entrepreneur?
We spoke a little earlier with the journaling. Everyone that I have known that has been highly successful and influential in my life is journaling. They have a journal. They write things down. It doesn't exist until it is written on paper. I'm a big fan of law of attraction, and just by writing things down, just by knowing the problem, you're 50% the way there. Just by writing things down is absolutely huge, and journaling is huge. Reading is huge. Having a mentor is huge. Those are very important habits. You show me your 5 closest friends, and I have an idea of who you are. And again, we all have crazy friends and stuff, but again, I try to surround myself around good mentors, people who are successful, because that type of energy rubs off. It's the same thing we teach the kids as well too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, we watch those things.
Yeah, it sounds like you surround yourself with a good environment, and I love that. Having good mentors, reading, and journaling.
Networking.
Networking as well. And I think that, like you said, the 5 people that you spend the most time with will rub off in you, and you're basically the sum of those 5, right?
Yeah.
Or the average of those 5.
Yes.
And so you got to be, aware of who you're spending your time with. Are these people positive? Are they negative? Are they go-getters? Are they driven? Are they not? Are they somebody that's, bringing you down, or is it somebody that's making you better? And it sounds like you've really built a good network and a good environment inside your business. So I applaud you for that.
Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. What are some of the other things that you do to be successful other than the journaling and the reading and stuff? And I wanted to ask you too, are any of your students, whether they're kids or adults, that go on to like fighting in competitions and doing anything like that?
I'll get the second question second. The first one, what are the other things that I do to be successful with this, is you have to find the balance. And it's the work-life balance, and having a good relationship with those who really matter to you. And, it's really important. What we're doing is we're giving back. When I first learned, they said there's 4 stages. As a junior, it's about education. As an instructor, you're making more money. As a chief instructor, is about having more life, because you can take that money and you can either spend it and go on vacation, do this and that, or you can reinvest it to help develop wealth so you have more time, so you have a legacy. And that's the final one. They never told me the answer. They said you'll discover it, and it's having a legacy. My legacy is my children, and having the opportunity to spend time with them and do stuff with them is huge. We were moving some stuff the other day, and I have some artwork that's really nice, from different countries that is hand painted and everything. And my son was moving it, and one of the artworks was a glass frame. It was a dark frame, and it was glass, and in the middle is an American flag he drew when he was 5 years old. And he was moving the different things around. He's like, "Oh yeah, this one's really expensive. All this is nice." He goes, "Oh, here's this one. How much this is worth?" He says, "Liam, this is my most precious one." I said, at the end, when I'm dying, I would rather have this by my side than a Mona Lisa. So it's really important to have that connection with your family, because that gives you drive and motivation not to give up. You don't want to let them down. At least that's for me. As you can see, I'm getting emotionally charged with it, because there's so much sacrifice as a business owner. And you do that sacrifice, especially as a parent, to make your children's lives better in knowledge. So for me, having, that strong family bond and that time with them is huge, because I've seen so many people, even when I was in the corporate world and engineering, sacrifice that. And in the end, what do you have?
Yeah.
And that's what I look at there.
We talk about balance a lot on this podcast and just in our lives and in our business. And it's crucial to have a family life, have a business life, have a friend's life, and have a personal life, right? And making sure that we stay involved with all of them, so that way we can become a whole person, right? And being wealthy just isn't being wealthy financially. It's being wealthy in all aspects of your life. Because if your family life, takes a wrong turn, or you neglect it because of your business, it can really end up turning out the wrong way, the way that you don't want things to happen. So I love that you hit on that balance stuff. And then I know that I had asked you before too, and we'll get into if your kids, so do you train them to be into competitions and do those types of things?
So with our youth program, it's a personal development program. So we have a lot of kids that come in here that, are working on focus and self-control, bully and pick on. And also we have a lot of kids that are just studs. They come from very affluent families, very strong families. And so we have a huge melting pot. And we have 3 different programs that go from our core program to go on their strengths. We have like a leadership program where it teaches kids to be leaders, so we teach public speaking, how to coach, how to lead. We do have a competition team where for the kids who want to spar, we do more stand-up. We're not a grappling type school. We do counter grappling, so like counter jiu-jitsu, so we do a lot of stand-up, and they can actually compete in kickboxing and Muay Thai in local tournaments here. We don't do traditional martial arts where they're doing the forms and the board breaking and weapons, because we're more reality-based training. Krav Maga for self-defense. The kickboxing has synergy with striking and fitness, and of course the personal development. So it's a more reality-based training. Like, what do kids really need? And the leadership, I'm a leader, not a follower when it comes to friends, bully prevention, and stranger safety. When it comes to self-defense, Krav Maga and Muay Thai are absolutely hands down. So for competition, it's not our biggest thing. We create competition with outside tournaments, inside tournaments, and we have academic success about growth. So we praise and reward, we call them like bat chats and star praises on children and students doing something remarkable, whether they're doing a poetry reading and, this is a kid who could never talk, or he was shy, couldn't hit a pad, and now 2 years later, he's in front of his high school reading poetry, for a talent show. That is success. That is, acknowledged. And so we have it both on the mental and emotional scale and the physical scale. So yeah, we do have kids that go out and, they like kick each other and strike and hit and throw, and, it's fun.
Yeah. What are the youngest kids that will start in your program?
Let's see. We start with what's called little champions. So instead of calling children, we call them champions. So we have little champions and young champions and super champions. The little champions start about, I say 3.9, because it's amazing how that age, there could be a huge difference in their psychological development. And we want them to be able to at least hold still and follow directions, not run and like lick the mirror or and stuff like that, like literally. So, it's a different energy for each age group. So we start at like, as 4 is our youngest that we start with. And from 4 and up, we break them down into ages. And the difference between little, young, and super is how long they stay at class. Like a little and young champion's at 30 minutes. A super champion will stay for full 45 because their attention span and everything.
Gotcha.
And that's the big one because, if you have a kid at 30 minutes and they're just fried, then the last 15 minutes they're struggling, that first 30 minutes success can get wiped away by the 15 minutes of them they're just mental, focus is a muscle.
Yeah.
And they're done, you know what I mean? And so, 4 is where we start. And it's really interesting. Some of those kids are absolutely amazing, and you're just so proud of them. And other days, it's like herding cats.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
right.
You're like, what is going
Well,
on?
and I'm sure that it's super rewarding to see those kids as they go from the little champions to the super champions and have them at each different stage and just see them grow as people. And that's got to be super rewarding. And that's how you give value to your customers.
Yes.
And all of that good stuff. So I really appreciate everything that you do for our youth, for the parents. Self-defense is huge. Making sure the kids have confidence, that they build, self-discipline inside of them as well. I think that it's important for, everybody, including kids, to, develop resiliency and be able to defend themselves. And so what I think that you're doing is crucial for our young people and even adults as well. So I think that that's great. Thank you so much for coming down here and sitting with me and talking with me today. Is there anything else that you think that anybody out there would like to hear or know about you?
We really covered a lot. It's easy for me to talk and coach and inspire and everything, but I know this podcast is directed to entrepreneurs or burgeoning ones and stuff. And the biggest thing that I can't clarify enough is, have a mentor, have a vision, have a goal. You're going to have people. When I first stopped as an engineer, everyone around me was like, bad idea. And you know what? It was like grinding my teeth on concrete. It was grueling. It was challenging. However, 5 years later, when I was doing better than I did as an engineer financially, and I went from working 80 hours a week to about 30 hours a week, everyone's like, oh, you're so lucky, you're so this. So, just hang in there. Like hang in there. And again, having those mentors, developing habits of success and routines are very, very huge. And you will get there. Yeah.
And I think that persistence is key, right?
Exactly.
Sticking with it, not giving up, just doing everything that you need to be to be successful is crucial as well. I appreciate you for being on here. Where can we find you? What is your website?
Yes, my business that is brick and mortar is Evolve Martial Arts and Fitness. But it's also called the Krav Maga Institute of Denver. We're located on Yonge, Colorado. And our website is evolve-maf.com. We have Facebook, which is Evolve Martial Arts and Fitness, and the Krav Maga Institute of Denver. It's got the E logo on it, and then Instagram as well too. That's about it.
Cool. Yeah. And with that said, thank you so much for being on. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.
And what is your favorite flavor of crispy?
Oh, let's see here. My first one I ever had was, which one was it? That's the blue squeeze. Yes, I really like that one. And then I did the tropical smash. The pineapple was good, but I just tried your
cherry press.
The cherry press. I like this one so far. I mean, they each have a different taste. Like the pineapple one was a little bit sweeter, and this one right here was a little bit crisp. Like again, crisp. It was a little bit crispier, and stuff. And like this one right here, like again, I really enjoy it.
The cherry press.
Yeah, I like the cherry press because I'm a big fan of vanilla. In it, and I can taste the notes of it. So like I've been like sitting here, I'm like, oh, can I keep drinking it?
Yeah,
can I drink it? But it's good. I like it.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you so much for being on the show. One thing that we can learn from you is just like staying on top of your business, having a mentor, I think, is crucial in finding a mentor. Whether you need to find them, via Facebook or find an entrepreneurship group in your local area. One thing that I've done is I've joined the Colorado Thought Leaders Forum in Civico here in Colorado, and I got with an entrepreneurship group named Thrive, but they've actually helped me become a better person because of the mentorship that I've received. And that's one of the reasons why we're doing this show, is so that we can talk to other people, that we can get this out there. Having mentors on YouTube and listening to videos also helps as well. So I think we've learned a lot from you today. I really appreciate you being on the show, and keep kicking ass. Thanks,
Absolutely.
man.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, definitely. And get crispy.
Here's to 5 o'clock somewhere in the middle of nowhere. Here's to a good tan and a buzz with the good ones that we love. Here's to 2 for 1 on ladies' night. Here's to the 19th hole. Anchors down and bottoms up. It's almost time to start the show.